Nick Bosa, who gets down to the line of scrimmage like a panther. I mean, he gets so freaking low. It's really cool to watch. He had one play today that made everybody on the sideline, if the crowd had been there, ooh and ah. Because did Colton McKivitz touch him on that ball, or was the only on that play, or was it just that Nick swiped his hands and that was the only time that Colton McKivitz came in contact with Nick Bosa on that play?
If there was physical touch, it lasted for less than a quarter of a second. And Nick was all air around, the hula hoop drill that a lot of, D-line coaches love it. They get their guys.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a high school drill, and even college and the pros, maybe a little less. But it makes sense. You want to run the hula hoop because you can bend like around the tackle. Bosa went around that corner so fucking fast, it looked like he was shot out of a rocket. If he was like a jaguar or leopard or whatever you're saying, he also had rocket packs on his ass because if they're playing Geno Smith or someone that's not like Peyton Manning or Brady, they would get rid of it super fast. He would be on that guy and sack him so fast, it would be like a highlight play of the NFL.
I think
he might kill him.
I think he might sack Manning or Brady. He was there so quick.
My point is that they might just be able to just either throw it away or they do that little Manning would do the ground
Manning would hit the ground. That's right. Manning would hit the ground. I asked Cam, I had missed this previously because you and I were talking about him lining up on the left side. Cam Inman, who covers the team, I was standing on the sideline talking to him, and I started talking about it. He said, well, Bosa says he likes one thing that you get when you line up on the left, the defense is left. When you line up around in front of the right tackle, you get to see the ball as you come around the edge. So even though, think about how fast you have to be willing to trade the fact that the quarterback can't see you when you're lined up to the right of the formation over the left tackle, to move to the other side where he can see you coming, but it doesn't matter that he can see you coming or that fast. You'd rather be on that side of him so you can see the ball. In other words, Nick Bosa is so quick that he doesn't care about the element of surprise. I just want to know what you're doing with the ball. There was one play today where he would have had another sack, except he came crashing down the line of scrimmage and Trey Lance came out the other side where Bosa had been, which I don't think defenses are going to play them that way. I think defenses are, as defenses have been, this isn't new, assign that defensive end to Trey Lance on the whatever the bootleg side of the play is. He came crashing down the line of scrimmage. If he had just had the quarterback, it would have been, the drill would have stopped. Even in a non-contact drill, Trey couldn't have pitched the ball. And it happens a lot. It's happened several times where Trey is throwing the ball, whoever the quarterback is throwing the ball with both Bosa kind of bellied up to them with his arms back because
his pass rush reps to sack ratio is extremely high. I'm not saying it's 1-to-1, but it feels closer to 1-to-1 than it does 1 to like 0.5. Like it is. Now, like you said, he's going against the right tackle, who is often not even, McGlinchey's, I don't think he's hurt. He just barely practices. He gets like I don't even know what. He's on a pretty special. They're trying to get him to the season. And I get it. He's coming back from pretty major injury, but he kills backups. The other thing is, and listen, I know Cam said that. I do think you're at such a huge advantage in this league. It's why, the Khalil Mack, it's why a lot of the best pass rushers, I think over the last several years have been, the guy on the right side is usually so much worse than a lot of teams starting left tackles. And some teams don't even have good starting left tackles, but they're the overwhelming majority of teams, their right tackle. Like if you gave the GM and the coach an option, like, would you like to upgrade this guy? Like they would immediately say yes. And in fairness, this is hard to find replacements. That's why we often talk about McGlinchey. Like they just might end up signing him to like a 2-year, $30 million deal, giving him like 15 guarantee. Who knows? I don't even know what like a team friendly deal is, but he kind of feels like he's got that written all over him if he's just solid this year. And I was looking at Khalil Mack, his wiki page, because I wanted to see the year that he won the first team All-Pro. And when he won the Defensive Player of the year that the Raiders and Jack Del Rio and Derek Carr, they had an excellent year. And they made the playoffs. That was the year Derek's ankle got shattered, and they threw him in the front seat. We talked about that last week. Is that Khalil was much rawer than Nick. Like, he needed to kind of figure out some things. But that year that he figured it out, it was like, oh, my God. This guy, the power, the speed, the movement, it's just like, this guy's the total package. Like, he became a star in 16. And Bosa, I don't want to say he didn't become a star last year. He was really, really good. But I think this season is when it's going to be like, is this guy the best player in the league? Like maybe there's still Aaron Donald or Myles Garrett, but like there are going to be moments where you're like, yeah, if you told me that right now this guy's the best player in the league, like that year with Khalil Mack, like this guy pound for pound feels like the best player in the league. Got all pro at multiple positions. Kind of what the vibe you feel with Nick. Like if this guy plays in 16 or 17 games, I do not see how he doesn't get 20 sacks. Because there are going to be some games, because remember that Khalil year? He had a couple games where like 3 sacks, and he had the one game with 5 sacks. Like Nick could have a game where he gets like 4
5
sacks.
sacks and a half. Was that the Bears
Might
game?
have been 4.5. It was the Broncos. Remember, Derek? They couldn't move the ball, and he just single-handedly won the game. And it feels like Bosa could have some moments like that. A little less. I think part of what made Khalil so jaw-dropping was he was like picking up guys and throwing them. It felt like, is this like JV versus varsity? I don't know. Joey's probably even a little more powerful like that, where Nick is just Von Miller in his prime, where it's like, I can't even touch him. Like, what am I supposed to do? And that's kind of what he feels like coming around the edge. Like, there are going to be plays. He'll have sacks this year where I bet the offensive lineman will come to the sideline and be like, I swear to God, like I dropped back. I did everything I was coached to do. And I look and he's already by me. And I tried to hold him. I couldn't even grab him. It looks like he shot out of a rocket.
You know, what's interesting looking at it, the Khalil Mack comp, is that Mack, I didn't realize this till I just looked. Mack had 11 sacks his DPOY year, which feels like it's a kind of a low number for a pass.
I would have guessed 16.
The year before he had 15, right? Do you have the numbers in front of you? I closed out the window, but I think the year before he had 15. And I think sometimes you almost win the award in part the year before you win an award by having off-season build-up. And Bosa last year
Mack had a better statistical season his second year than he did his third. Way more TFLs, 4 more sacks.
So, I mean, I think he probably came into momentum in 16. If we went back and found the preseason defensive player of the year odds for 16, I'd be interested to see where he was coming into that year. Right now, Bosa is 5th behind Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Aaron Donald, Micah Parsons, just ahead of Joey Bosa. And, I think part of that is going to be that he had such an incredible year last year. Nick Bosa, for all the credit Khalil Mack rightfully gets for his run-stopping ability, right? You could argue it's the best thing Khalil does is that he's a fantastic run stuffer while being a pass rusher. Bosa was 21 TFLs last year, led the NFL in tackles for loss. Now, 15 and a half of those were sacks. And a lot of his stuff, remember, I think he benefits from any pass rusher does, the way this team plays. If you've got the lead, Nick Bosa, most of his sacks come in the second half. I remember crunching the numbers last year because the Niners played with leads. So it feels like it's set up, actually, coming off of the year he had last year to be. Now, it's tough. I mean, to have 15 and a half sacks and not even be – he was not an all-pro, was he?
Who?
Oh, Nick. Was Nick an all-pro last year?
I think he was.
Was he? Okay.
Team, yeah.
It's just tough at that position, but
I'm almost 100% sure he was second team.
Yeah, I mean, you would think. I don't know why I had it in my head that maybe he got
No,
snubbed.
I mean, no, he was just a Pro Bowler. He
So
was
it was-
not an All-Pro.
So it was TJ. It was first teamers were what? TJ Watt and Myles Garrett.
I would think that would be the case. And I don't know who who would have been.
Crosby.
Yeah, honestly, I think Crosby got it.
And one other. Who would it have been? Micah wouldn't have been Mike. Oh, Chase Young, maybe?
No, he got hurt.
Darius Leonard.
So they had Myles Garrett. I got Pro Football.
You got somebody else's All-Pro team, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
We want the AP All-Pro team.
Is that the one you want?
Well, that is the All-Pro team.
Yeah, I mean, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and then Robert Quinn of the Bears and Max Crosby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I would be stunned if he, provided health, is not on that list this year. And I think you're right. It's hard to tell that he's better, right? He just is so fully formed, as people like to say already. Like, you never watch Nick Bosa and think, well, here's 7 things he could do better. But sure feels like they're all talking about him like he's better. And you could just make the case he's 24 years old. He'll turn 25 in October. Like, this is we are in his athletic, his most superior prime.